The new financial system is continuing to unfold before our eyes, and headlines like this back up that very fact. Ripple is preparing to bring stablecoins to global exchanges, which essentially means the creation of tokenized assets, and I'm going to tell you exactly what that means. Welcome to the AlterNate Vantage. My name is Nate. This is where I provide a different perspective on finances, news, and generational wealth. If you like this kind of content, then don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, back to the video. So here's what's going on. Ripple has recently announced that they are bringing a dollar-backed Ripple USD, or they are calling the RL USD, which supposedly has started being available as of December 17th. Coming from the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, he said, as the US moves towards clearer regulations, we expect to see greater adoption of stablecoins like RLUSD, which offer real utility and are backed by years of trust and expertise in the industry. It kind of sounds like what the current regular dollar is backed by. Good and faithful trust in the US government. Either way, the article goes on to say the company argues RLUSD will allow institutions to facilitate instant settlement of cross-border payments, access liquidity for remittance and treasury functions, and provide collateral when trading tokenized real-world assets. So if you've been following the channel for any length of time, I've been going into detail as to what's happening in the crypto realm, in the digital realm, in the financial realm. And what I've been trying to communicate is that we are going through a transition right now, removing the use of regular dollars and moving into things like tokens and stablecoins and cryptocurrencies and so on and so forth. Though cryptocurrencies will never be the focal point, it'll always be some form of stablecoin, which essentially is a tokenized asset, a digitized asset that is pegged to or backed by a real world asset. And that's exactly what they're talking about here when they're talking about the facilitation of cross-border payments, treasury functions, and of course, it says it right here, tokenized real world assets. Think things like real estate, things like gold, things like silver, things like oil. They go on to say that stablecoins can be a compelling alternative for traditional cross-border payments as they allow near instantaneous transfers, much lower costs, and enhanced transparency via blockchain technology. It says for banks, this functionality highlights the emergence of a potentially stark choice: adapt to a changing payments landscape or risk disintermediation. So essentially, comply or get left behind. What's important here is the concept of what's called Gresham's Law, which essentially means that bad money will replace good money. And so if they're making it more cost affordable, more effective, more efficient, quicker, faster, more transparent, more protected to be using things like stablecoins as opposed to traditional dollars through debit accounts, credit accounts, and so on and so forth, what happens is if you have more purchasing power over on the stablecoin side because things are cheaper, quicker, more transparent, then people are naturally going to want to get rid of their dollar positions and move into stablecoin positions. I'm not saying this transition would happen necessarily quickly or all at once. I'm just saying it allows for an environment for something like that to take place, which is what they want to ultimately happen because it is creating the grounds for everything that we do financially to be digitized, the removal of cash, which if you like to protect your privacy and your rights as individuals, it might not necessarily be the best thing for consumers in general. Now, I want to tie this article in with one other article, which I think really helps this information stand out, and it tells you how we are quickly making this transition. So Tether is now gaining the interest in more banks as they have continued to press forward in the stablecoin space, which is what I was just talking about before. So this article specifically highlights that we have several banks that are already making this transition and going in this direction. So they have Societe Generale opening its euro-backed stablecoin to retail investors this year. Revolut is reportedly considering its own version, as is AllUnity, which is a venture involving Deutsche Bank-owned DWS. Also, American banks are expected to follow suit once Congress enacts stablecoin legislation. This is kind of true, kind of not true, and I make the point right here. So we do currently have kind of like stablecoin equivalents. For example, we have Citicoin and JPM coin. Citicoin goes back to Citibank. JPM goes back to JP Morgan and Chase. They both already have kind of tokenized the deposit process for some of their institutional investors. I've made other videos, I think both about Citycoin and JPM Coin if you want to check those out. This is important. I have specifically talked about this on the channel, but Visa has already launched a tokenization network. This is back in October, and it's collaborating with other banks and industries to use their services as a means to tokenize other things like deposits, identities, fraud protection, things like that. And so finally, this article that says, by enabling banks to issue their own stablecoins and integrate tokenized deposits into their systems, Visa could foster widespread adoption, reducing the risk of marketplace panic that often leads to de-pegging events. So all of this to say, we are witnessing a transition in the financial space, in the banking space, which is important because it essentially means how we have been previously doing any sort of valuation in the past is being disrupted because we have effectively a new currency type in the stablecoin realm, which is ultimately where things are trying to go. If you're looking at what they're doing, for example, in the digital identity space, for example, the UK has just recently announced that they're going to be launching their digital ID wallets starting in 2026. So we're watching these things take place, and if you want to know how to protect yourself, then I highly recommend you continue to follow along with this channel. I haven't released my videos yet, but I will soon in the future. But my basic tenets on how I am, generally speaking, protecting the wealth that I do have and what I want to do in taking into the future is by using real estate, gold, silver, and whole life insurance. So I will be explaining how to do that in the future, but if you want to stay along for the ride, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.